Good afternoon, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. This is Rich again, back for your second video blog of the day for Monday, January 11, 2016, around 5:14 in the afternoon in Billerica, Massachusetts. It was a sunny day out today, but very windy, very cold, highs in the 30s, but the windshield felt like it was 20 or so. Tomorrow, sun to start off with, but maybe some snow showers as an Alberta clipper comes through the state, dropping anywhere from a coating to 3 inches, depends if you get a heavy burst of snow and stuff. Not all areas will see a heavy burst of snow. Behind it, much colder air. And maybe this weekend, snow to rain to snow. We'll wait and see about that. Some news to report. Sting is going to be the first inductee into the 2016 WWE Hall of Fame. Congratulations to Sting, even though he wrestled 2 WWE matches. He's probably the first guy ever to be in the TNA Hall of Fame and the WWE Hall of Fame. So congratulations to the Stinger. Ooh. And that's about it on news. My second video blog subject of the day is about to form a tag team, the Brainbusters, Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard. Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard were a tag team for approximately 2.5 years in the NWA, Jim Crockett Promotions, and WWE. They held both the NWA and WWE Tag Team Championships, one of the few teams ever to hold those 2 titles, not at the same time. Background on Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard: they were original members of the Four Horsemen with Ric Flair and Ole Anderson. Tully Blanchard was like a singles heel for a few years. He was probably the number 2 heel on Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, Jim Crockett Promotions. And Arn Anderson was the enforcer. He usually teamed with Ole Anderson, and he was a great tag team wrestler. About the summer of 1987, Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard started to tag team together, and they went through a lot of teams in the NWA and stuff. Eventually, they got a World Tag Team title match against the Rock and Roll Express, which was on NWA Pro Wrestling, and there was interference by the Midnight Express, Stan Lane and beautiful Bobby Eaton, and they injured Ricky Morton and stuff, and eventually, like, Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson, who were the Rock and Roll Express, just gave up. So Arn and Tully became the NWA World Tag Team Champions. This happened in September of 1987 for the next 7 months. Arn and Tully, with J.J. Dillon as their manager, ran through all the teams in the NWA. They had some classic matches with the Road Warriors at Starrcade 1987 in Chicago, Illinois. That's the Road Warriors' kayfabe hometown. Actually, Hawk and Animal were born in Minnesota. And the Road Warriors supposedly won the NWA World Tag Team Championship, but they used the Dusty Finish. And that means, the Dusty Finish means it was a squirrely finish. And Arn and Tully continued to defend the NWA World Tag Team Championship. They lost it at the first Clash of Champions to the Twin Towers, which was Lex Luger and Barry Windham. But about a month later, Arn and Tully regained the NWA World Tag Team Championship on an edition of WCW Saturday Night, when Barry Windham turned on Lex Luger by accident, inadvertently, because Luger hit Windham by mistake, and Windham turned on Luger, and Windham joined the Horsemen, and Arn and Tully regained the NWA World Tag Team Championship, and they continued to defend against the next 4 months against makeshift tag teams. They they were booked at, originally the plan was at Great American Bash 1988, the first bash to be on pay-per-view. They wanted a rematch with the Road Warriors, Hawk and Animal, to like blow off that feud, but the bookers put Arn and Tully on the opening match against Sting and Nikita Koloff, and it was a 20-minute time limit draw. And when Tully Blanchard got his payoff for the pay-per-view, he got a very low payoff. The manager of the Four Horsemen, J.J. Dillon, got a bigger paycheck than him, and Tully Blanchard gave his notice that he was leaving. Arn Anderson soon followed. Tully and Arn were booked in a program against the Midnight Express. Beautiful Bobby Eaton and Sweet Stan Lane. That was going to be a long-running feud. But when they gave notice, they had to drop it at a house show in Philadelphia to the Midnight Express. And behind the scenes, they negotiated a contract with Vince McMahon to join the WWE. And Arn and Tully joined the WWE in October of 1988. They were rechristened the Brain Busters, managed by Bobby the Brain Heenan, part of the Heenan family. And Arn and Tully got a major push as a big tag team. They were in the 10-man tag team Survivor Series elimination match, that famous, infamous double turn with the Powers of Pain and Demolition. And Arn and Tully had a long-running feud with the Rockers, Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels. They started this feud on an edition of WWE Superstars of Wrestling when both teams were counted out of the ring fighting outside the ring. And they had several great house show matches at MSG, Boston Garden, all of the circuit, and it was awesome. It brought the Rockers up a level. The Brain Busters beat Strike Force, who was Tito Santana and Rick Martel at WrestleMania 5, because Tito Santana accidentally gave the flying forearm, or what Jesse the Body Ventura and Bobby the Brain Heenan called it, the flying burrito, accidentally on Rick Martel. Rick Martel turned on Tito Santana, and the Brain Busters gave the spike pile driver to Tito and pinning him 1, 2, 3. Then the Brain Busters had a house show like feud with the Bushwhackers. Whoa, yeah. And actually the Bushwhackers beat the Brain Busters in a couple of matches. Unbelievable. But the Brain Busters, Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard, wanted the gold. They wanted to face off. They wanted to take the WWE Tag Team titles from Axe and Smash of Demolition. They had a match at Saturday night's main event, and in like May of 1989, the Brain Busters won by disqualification. And then they have a rematch at the next Saturday night's main event, which was July of 1989. It was 2 out of 3 falls, and the Brain Busters won the first fall. The Demolition won the second fall, but there was interference by the 8th wonder of the world, Andre the Giant, and the Brain Busters won the third fall, and the Brain Busters became WWE Tag Team Champions. This was the second title that Bobby the Brain Heenan won for the Heenan family. Brain Busters were WWE Tag Team Champions for approximately 3 months or so. They had a great match at SummerSlam 1989 against the Hart Foundation, Bret the Hitman Hart and Jim the Anvil Neidhart. It was a non-title match, but the Brain Busters won. It should have been a title match because that would have been awesome, but it wasn't. But behind the scenes, Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard were getting fed up with the WWE traveling a lot and stuff, and they heard that WCW was going to offer them a big contract with less dates and stuff. And Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard signed with WCW. They gave their notice. They were going to reunite with Ric Flair and Ole Anderson with the original Four Horsemen. And the Brain Busters dropped the WWE Tag Team titles to Demolition at a Superstars of Wrestling taping in October of 1989. But they were still WWE Tag Team Champions for the next month on house shows until the title was shown on television and stuff. That's what they did back then. The champions would continue to defend it on house shows until the title change was acknowledged on television. Sometimes they would do that just in case if they decided to cancel the title reign and stuff for one reason or another. And they lost it on the November 6th edition, November 5th edition of November 4th edition of Superstars of Wrestling. And the Brainbusters' last match on television was against the Rockers, Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, on a Saturday night's main event. And the Rockers beat the Brainbusters 2-1 halfway through the match. Bobby the Brain Heenan walked out on the Brainbusters. That was the Brainbusters' last match in the WWE. Tully Blanchard was actually suspended from the WWE because he flunked a drug test in November of 1989. And Arn Anderson left after the Survivor Series 1989 when this trickled down when he flunked a drug test. WCW pulled the contract away from Tully Blanchard, and they devalued Arn Anderson's contract by over $100,000. That's a true story. And the Brainbusters were probably one of the best tag teams of all time. They were only together 2.5 years, but they were awesome and stuff. If they somehow returned to WCW, they probably would have had several more reigns as WCW World Tag Team Champions. That would have been great. And that's about it on the Brainbusters. That's about it on this video blog. The third and final video blog is coming up. It's going to be about the Hockey Hall of Famer Mike Bossy of the New York Islanders. Keep calm, everybody. I'm a Julie Bratton guy. Molly Rosenblatt of WCCO rocks, and she has nice legs. Elizabeth Hart's the best, and she's got nice legs as well. Amy Swensley's so awesome. And in the words of Dr. Thomas Sharkey, former principal of BMHS, this action will not be tolerated at BMHS. And don't forget Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Send me ideas for future video blogs and shout outs and plugs. Bye.